Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pits of Motor Chaos. This is your host, Dave. I got my special guest, Josh Graham, driver of the Hannah Motorsports Eastern Raider Jet Dragster. How's it going, Josh?
Hey, Dave. How's it going?
It's going good. I'm glad we had that polar vortex last week. It was like 23 below over here in Illinois, so I'm glad that's over with.
Yeah, we're out of Massachusetts, and we pretty much had the similar weather. So we got through it though.
Yeah. Today's like it was almost 50 today over here.
Yeah, I had the same thing. 50 degrees, beautiful out.
Yeah. So now, when you first got into drag racing, your dad got you into drag racing, right?
Yeah. I started racing back in 2003. Started in the junior dragster program, but many years before that, my dad he raced in the '60s with a gasser that he built, and then he bought a brand new Z28 Camaro in 1968, and he raced that for a little while. But then he kind of got out of driving, and he got back into it a few years later when Bob Newberry started running a top alcohol funny car. He started kind of crewing for him, doing the bottom end, doing the top end, and kind of learning more and more about alcohol racing. And he ended up owning one of his cars for about 2 or 3 years. So that was kind of how I got my start, was going to races with my dad, learning about 526 blown Hemis, and having mentors like Bob Newberry and Frank Manzo. I used to talk to them all the time, and my end goal always used to be wanting to be just like them and race just like they did.
So then you got the junior dragster and did that for 7 years?
Yeah, so I raced junior dragsters from 2003 to 2008 was my last year. And what better way to cap off the season in 2008? I won the Division I championship.
Nice.
And I figured, that was enough in that class. So after that, I bought an altered, 125-inch wheelbase altered, and I decided to go super comp racing. And I kind of used that as a stepping stone because my end goal was to get to a top alcohol funny car one day. And just because that's kind of how I got my roots, and I just always had this vision of becoming, a professional driver in that class, and possibly moving up.
So you never got to the funny car?
Nope, I never got the funny car. The closest I came to it was I was building this is a 150-inch wheelbase altered that I was building for this season. It had a 526 blown Hemi, and we were planning on running in top dragster low sixes at 220, 230 miles an hour. So that was going to be our big step, but this opportunity came along to get in the seat of a Hannah Motorsports powered jet, and it was just an opportunity that was too good to pass up. So I took it, and we're kind of running with it.
So how did you get in that situation? They approached you, Hannah?
Yeah, so this all kind of came about as Al Hannah was in the hospital getting a kidney replaced, as some people know. And in the meantime, they were kind of looking for a driver for one of their funny cars. So I went through the interview process, which came about by the Lebanon Valley track manager, Wayne Del Monte. He was asked to kind of give a recommendation of a driver. And I was very humbled to hear that my name came up in conversation. And that's kind of got the ball rolling, and the vice president of Hannah Motorsports, Rich Hannah, also was the driver of First Strike Funny Car. He reached out to me, and we had a great conversation. And nothing was set in stone. We were just kind of doing preliminaries, and a few different things happened in their camp. One in particular thing was there was an accident with the dragster.
Yeah, Sarah. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, with Sarah Edwards, and she decided to step out of at least the jet category. So that left an open seat, and we built a new dragster, and I'm kind of destined for that, I guess.
Yeah, you wouldn't look good driving a Queen of Diamonds jet dragster.
Yeah, yeah. So they decided to bring back the old school name, the Eastern Raider. And I think it's really an honor to have that name behind me because it's such a well known old school funny car that Al Hanna drove.
Right.
Back in his days, and it was famous. And for that name to come back, it's nostalgic and it's cool, and it really ought to be wild. And I'm extremely excited for the years to come here.
So you haven't got your jet license yet, right?
No, I haven't. The closest I've been to the jets is I've sat in the top secret funny car, and we just did a startup. Did a couple burner pops, so that's when you go up to about 70% on the motor and you hit the afterburners and you really feel that raw power that they have. And, that just got me so excited to really get into one of these things and just kind of chomping at the bit here, waiting for this car to get done. The car right now is pretty darn close to nearing completion at the chassis shop. It's going to get dropped off for paint very shortly. Hopefully by next week, the end of next week, the paint will be on the car and we'll be ready for final assembly. And after that, we're going to get right into the training process, and it should go very fast, and hopefully it goes really well, and we can make our first booking, which is April 5th through 7th. We're at the Super Chevy in Memphis, Tennessee.
So what kind of jet engine is in that jet?
Yeah, it's a GE J85 jet engine, which was using the F5 fighter jets. It's really an amazing piece. GE being a household name, everybody knows about it. So it's one of the better engines out there. It's nice and reliable, and we got plenty of parts for it and everything like that. But yeah, that's what it is, and it pushes out about 5,000 horsepower on its own without the afterburner lit. With the afterburner lit, it probably pushes out double that.
Nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're still young though. You still might do a funny car one day.
Yeah, I'm 26 years old. I got a lot of racing in me. That's for sure. I'm on my 16th season, and I plan on going for at least 40, 50 more. So, who knows what the future holds? I'm more than content racing jets. I think it's a really cool opportunity. And whether I use this as my career or as a stepping stone, so be it. But I'm just extremely happy, and I feel extremely lucky to just have this opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you would have started driving a funny car, maybe eventually you would have wanted to move into nitro after that.
Yeah, I mean that's usually the natural progression. Some people stick in alcohol funny car for a long time, and they're happy there. But my end goal was always to go pro and be a professional drag racer. I think that's any racer's dream, really. So just the fact that this came up, I mean, this is one step in the right direction. And
yeah, I was gonna say, you're gonna be doing the NHRA with the jet car. That might open some doors for you.
Yeah, that's not really the intention right now, to open doors. The intention is, to do what I'm hired to do, and that's drive the wheels off this jet car, and be the best that I can be, and make some clean, fast passes. And the focus is on the present right now. I'm not really looking toward the future, except sticking with this team. I'm a very, very loyal person, so. This team gave me my big break, and I plan to stick with them for a long time.
Yeah, maybe 10, 20 years.
Yeah, you never know. You never know what the future holds.
Yep. Going 300 miles per hour.
Yeah. I can't tell you how excited I am to be in that club. My end goal for 2019 was to be in the 200 mile an hour club, but I'll just skip over that and go right to 300. Yeah. That's fine with me.
So with the fuel altered alcohol car, what's fastest you went with that one?
Yeah, so my best ET was 780 in the quarter at 180 miles an hour. So I was still a pup. I mean, that's pretty quick, but compared to the racing world, that's it's comfortable. So, I can't wait to put those big numbers up that I keep hearing about. I keep hearing these 520s that we used to run, 5 teens, running 305. And this being a new car, it's certainly going to have the best of the best, and the innovation on it is incredible already. With how lightweight the car is being built, and all the things that they've learned over the years. First off, this is one of the best teams you could be with. It is the number one name in Jets, and they kind of pioneered everything. And I just plan on making nice clean passes and going fast, letting the crew do what they got to do, and becoming successful.
Yep, put it on a big fire show at the starting line.
That's right. Yep, can't wait for that too. Those are fun.
Because that's what it's all about, being a big exhibition show for the crowd.
Yeah, we are an exhibition team, but there's still that competitive drive in there. Even when somebody's in the other lane, you still want to beat them, and that's something that I have, and I'm going to continue to have for my whole career. We do have one big race, halfway through the year. That's I think it's just the Jet Car Nationals, which is in Norwalk, Ohio. That's scheduled for August 10th right now, and that's a head-to-head race. There's usually about 10 jets there, and you just go and race heads up, and I think that we're going to be pretty competitive in that. Our biggest competition is Scotty Heat out there in Chicago area.
Oh, yeah.
We're coming for him.
I see Scotty all the time over here at Great Lakes Dragway by where I live. He's always going over 300 miles per hour.
Oh, yeah. We'll be right there with him, I'll tell you that.
The 50 cal jet car.
That's right. That's right. I can't wait to meet him.
Oh, he's a nice guy. Met him, interviewed him. The guys that run by me at Great Lakes Dragway are Scotty Heat, and we got Danny Sullivan, Hot Blade. I can't remember the driver's name for Hot LZ. LZ drives Hot Blade. And we got local jet funny car, Brian Mitchell. He's a track manager, plus he drives jet funny car.
Okay.
Yeah, we usually get the same jet cars all the time, though, on Memorial Day weekend and Labor Day weekend.
Yep.
Then usually like the end of June, we got our big jet show.
Okay. Yeah, so I look forward to meeting all these drivers. And from what I hear, the jet community is a very close-knit community. Everybody kind of knows each other, and that's one thing that I kind of really like about the NHRA circuit that I've raced on. I've raced in Division I for all 16 of my seasons racing, and just the great relationships that I've made over time. They're really the best relationships that I've had, and the most constant and consistent. Because with us racers, we're out of town so often doing our racing thing that we can't even have home friends anymore.
Yeah, all the drag racers say drag racing's just one big family. And
it is. I completely agree with that.
Yeah, hopefully the jet world this year is not going to be as bad as last year. Towards the end of last year, they had a lot of accidents.
Yeah, the end of last year was definitely odd for the jet world.
Shelley Siegel, Tammy Gatlin, Sarah Edwards, and then, of course, the tragic one we lost, Kat Moeller, which she was so young. It was such a tragic loss.
It sure is. But all you can do from that is you can learn from the experiences and try and make these cars better and safer. And that's just the name of the game. It's the same in the top fuel ranks and everything like that. And sometimes it takes something so tragic to happen to learn what we need to do to make us safer and make the sport a little bit better for everybody.
Yeah, well, those cars are built pretty safe, which is a good thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you're only 26 years old and you're going to be jumping in the jet car. That's got to be pretty exciting.
Yeah, it really is. It's an amazing opportunity, and I'm extremely blessed, and I just can't tell you how much I'm chomping at the bit to go that first 300-mile-an-hour pass. It's going to be one of the greatest feelings.
So is your dad still around?
Yep, my dad's
So
still around. He's still very involved in the sport.
so what did he say when you told him about the jet car?
That was a big discussion because we currently have 2 altereds in the shop, and the first thing when this came up, I asked him and I said, "Hey, I know we have a huge investment sitting here. Between the truck, trailer, 2 cars, golf cart, all the spare parts, spare motors, everything. Um, it's not something that we can just kind of take lightly." And we had a long discussion, and he's fully supportive of me and everything that I do. So he trusted my decision as well, and we both thought it would be good to take this opportunity and run with it. So he's going to still be involved. He'll still come to the races and help out as much as he can. He's 73 years old now, so he's kind of nearing his retirement age. He's not even retired yet, and he probably never will. But yeah, he'll still be around. He'll still be at the tracks for anybody that knows him and wants to see him. And my mom will still be around as well. She helps out as much as she can. So it'll still be a great family affair, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's always good to have 2 parents that are very supportive of what you do.
Absolutely, and I really do have the best support group behind me. My parents were the ones who started this whole thing, and I can't thank them enough.
So your dad was your biggest inspiration to get into drag racing?
Yeah, he was the number one reason. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't even be close to this sport. He took me under his wing when he worked on Newberry's car, and we worked on it together. He showed me everything, and I started off cleaning frame rails with brake clean and putting fuel in the car, and I gradually learned more and more as I went on. Learned how to do the bottom end. I was diving down with him, and getting the oil in your hair. At the end of the day, you're at the hotel taking a shower, and the nice white hotel shower or towels were just completely black at the end of the day, and I just love that.
Well, I'm sure Newberry was a big inspiration to you too.
Yeah, he was. A lot of people know that name, but they don't really know who Bob was. And he was just an absolutely crazy good racer, smart guy. He didn't win as many championships as some of the people out there, but he always leaned on the more of staying consistent and safe, and really conserving his investment, and being very good with his money and his tune-up. So he was able to make a very successful career. He was a lot of people don't really know. He was the first in the 5s in the alcohol funny cars, which is pretty amazing. And he held a lot of records. And back when it was just him and Manzo and Tony Bartone, even these were all guys that I just grew up around, and I learned to know and love. And they were all my inspirations.
So now, did you go watch any big NHRA races when you were younger?
Yeah, just traveling around with the race team, of course, with Newberry. We went around to a lot of the national events, a bit of Houston, Chicago, Indy. I was lucky enough to be there for Newberry's 50th win, which was his last win, in NHRA. That was really cool. During that time, too, I got to meet some of the other NHRA drivers in the pro ranks and kind of talk to them and get a feel of how they were. And I always just wanted to be at that level. And NHRA events are like no other, that's for sure. There's nothing like a Top Fuel car taking off the line and you standing right there next to it.
So are there any big NHRA drivers that are inspirational to you out there?
I always lean towards the alcohol rink guys, mostly because they had to work during the week, and then they go out there and spend their hard-earned money, racing and trying to go for championships. And I always thought that was very admirable, and it just showed how hard they really worked. But if I had to say, for a professional, Top Fuel or funny car driver, I got to give a lot of credit to John Force. I mean, that guy he works his tail off to find sponsorship, and he's made a real success out of his business. And coming from where he started, and he crashed more cars than you could ever imagine. He had a hard time when he first started, and just to where he is now, he's just a great team, unstoppable team, and it's really strong guy that guy is.
I agree with you on that one. So now, have you seen a lot of jet cars when you were younger?
Yeah, I always used to go to the local event at Lebanon Valley. That's my home track over here in New York, which is right over the border for me in Massachusetts. And they had an event in August every single year, which was the Night of Fire. And I always watched the Hannah Motorsports Jets, watched the original Queen of Diamonds when I was young. And I never really thought too much of it. I used to watch them and think they were cool, but I never really got into it. And it was funny, earlier this year, I was kind of thinking of the future, and I was thinking, maybe I should try and dip into the jets. So I started looking at them in Racing Junk and pricing them out, and it was just always a thought in the back of my head. And I'm just extremely lucky that at the right time and in the right place, I got offered this position. It really is a dream come true so far.
All right, now I'm going to go back to the junior dragsters for a minute there. When you first started junior dragster, what was the experience like for the first time going down a drag race track for you?
Yeah, so I remember that day like it was yesterday. I started off, and it was 2002, about halfway through the year, we bought a car. And this was a 13, 14 second car that ran 45 miles an hour. At the time I was 9, and it was just a cool feeling. And I remember hitting the finish line and just going nuts in my helmet, screaming and yelling. I was so excited about it. It was definitely in my blood at that point, that's for sure. So I did that for about 2 or 3 years in that class, and moved up to an 890 car, which is in the 8th mile, of course. Went about 75 miles an hour, and then after 2 years in that, we moved up to the 790 class, which was 85 miles an hour. We even went as crazy as we built an outlaw car, which they only raced at 330 feet, and it's similar to Top Fuel racing, where it's heads up, and first one there wins. You usually run about 420 in the 330, and that was a lot of fun. We had a lot of good years, met a lot of great people. Did a lot of traveling with that. We used to travel to Bristol, Tennessee for the Eastern Conference Finals every year, and we usually had a divisional event, either at Maple Grove, Pennsylvania, Capitol Raceway in Maryland, Mason-Dixon Dragway in Maryland as well. We had a lot of fun traveling, getting around. We used to travel for other big events that they would have. So back when Englishtown was open, they had the Founders Day Classic. That was the first race of the year. The Founders Day is at the end of the year. Yeah, it's the end of the year. They had the Halloween bash that we used to go to, and there was all these really cool events that they set up just for juniors. And we'd have 500 of these cars show up, and it was really a lot of fun.
So what's the fastest ET you've had with a junior dragster?
I had that Outlaw car. In the 330, I think it was a 421, and I remember coasting to the 8th mile, and I think I ran like a 750 by accident. And it was at like 45 miles an hour, so that was pretty stout. And for a junior dragster, I used to hike the front end about a foot off the ground. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah, that has been pretty exciting for you.
Yeah, that was my first dip into a real fast car.
Yeah. So now with that fuel altered, how many years did you drive that for?
I drove the altered for 10 years in Super Comp. We were fairly competitive in it. We'd go 1 or 2 or 3 rounds here and there. The best I ever did in it was I was a runner-up at the Dutch Classic at Maple Grove, Pennsylvania. I think that was back in 2010 or 2011. But I got to say, Super Comp is a tough class. It's a little bit more affordable for people who are kind of getting into racing. And, if you have a weekend warrior dragster, you can go out there and run Super Comp for sure. Takes a lot of data to run. to learn that throttle stop really well. But even if you get it down, you'll still get thrown bones here and there that you just can't predict. And it's a tough class. A lot of great racers that are out there, and especially in Division I, I have some of the best over here. And it definitely brought my competitive drive to a whole nother level, but it also kind of tore it down. It was an emotional roller coaster in that class because I had so many losses in that class, but I mean, it's kind of the name of the game.
Yeah. So now for the Hannah Motorsports Jet Dragster, do you know how many crew members you're gonna have yet?
Yeah, so far we have 3 full-time crew members that are signed up, but a lot of the time I'll kind of be crewing for the some of the funny cars. There's certain events that all 3 of us will race. So we currently have 1 dragster and 2 funny cars. There's certain events that all 3 of us will race, and we need our 3 guys that are going to be there. But a lot of the events, I'll be sitting out or they'll be sitting out, and we'll crew for each other back and forth, which I definitely want to do because I want to learn as much as I can about these cars, know them inside and out. I'm a very technical person, so once I get to learn them, the crewing part, it can take a toll on you because it's still got about an hour turnaround, just like an NHRA event, and there's still things to do. It's a jet engine, but there's still in between the round maintenance. You still got to pack the chutes, and you gotta bleed the system down and make sure there's no air bubbles for when you start up, and you gotta fuel it up. We run about 16 gallons of fuel in that thing, and we burn it all up. So.
Yeah. Now, for you, when you drag race, do you have any pre-race rituals or superstitions at all?
Not really. My biggest thing is I'm very consistent in everything that I do, especially before I get in the car. I put my fire suit on the same way. I put my helmet, my gloves, my whole before I get in my car routine is the same, and that's the thing. It's a routine, and it's a very consistent routine. So you don't ever forget anything, and you don't get flustered if something comes up. It's business as usual. One thing that you'll see me do in the staging lanes a lot, though, I chew a lot of gum. That kind of helps calm me down a little bit. And I'll kind of amp myself up at the trailer before I head up to. I'll throw on some music real quick and just kind of get myself amped up and get going.
Now, do you know who the sponsors are for that jet car yet?
So far, we have limited sponsors, but there's a few things in the works. Tang Tools is one of our sponsors right now, which is kind of a lesser known tool company. They kind of dipped into the American business. So Tang Tools is one of our primaries, and that list will grow for sure. So it's kind of a Hannah Motorsports funded car right now.
All right. So now, do you already have your fire suit for the jet car?
Yeah. Yep. I got a 20-layer fire suit from Simpson. Simpson's also a product sponsor of ours. We use them a lot for shoots and everything like that. But all my gear is Simpson. I trust the heck out of them. I've seen a lot of nasty accidents in my racing career, being around, and Simpsons is one of the only ones that I'll trust out there. Maybe a little bit more expensive, but it's definitely worth the price.
Now, you prefer quarter mile or 8 mile racing?
We'll do both. So we'll go to both tracks. There's certain tracks that are quarter mile, and there's certain tracks that are 8 mile, and we'll do both of them. So it'll be good. So
what is your preference? So, like, if say you're driving your fuel altered, what's your preference?
I love the quarter mile, mostly because I like the speed. I like having that top end speed and the big numbers. 8 mile, I did that in junior dragsters, and that was good for that. But once you start to get in a faster car, it's it's just totally different. To go from 8 mile to quarter mile, I really do like quarter mile.
All right, now, what would you consider to be the milestones you've reached so far in your drag racing career?
The best milestone? The biggest?
No. What are the milestones that you've reached so far?
So far,
Yeah.
I don't think I've really hit the milestones that I've wanted to. The biggest one that I have is my Division I championship in 2008. That's definitely a milestone that I had, was to win a division championship. And, my vision has always been to be a national champion one day, and win as many national events as I can, sort of thing. But doesn't really go like that with the jet car class. It's not really, you can't be a world champion in that. But you can certainly be the world record holder in times, and certainly own a lot of track records. So,
Oh yeah.
I think the next future milestones are going to be try and get as many track records as possible. And the safety record is going to be important to me. Just keeping that car nice and safe.
Now, throughout your drag racing career, Josh, have you had any accidents or close calls yet?
I've been lucky enough to not. I can't say that I've ever had anything that's remotely close to an accident. I tend to lean on the not to be a hero. So, with my altered, those are pretty hard to drive, 125-inch wheelbase at times. And anytime it gets a little bit sketchy at all, I won't be a hero. I'll just back out of it and abort the run. Whether it's I'm in the final round or if I'm testing, it's just not worth it. So, luckily, I have not had any close calls.
Well, knock on wood, you're not going to have any accidents, Josh.
Yeah, for sure. I'll be knocking on wood every time.
All right, now we're reaching the fun questions part of the interview. Ready for some fun questions?
Sure.
Now, besides drag racing, do you have any other hobbies?
I'm big on golf. I love golf.
Oh, really?
It's one of my favorite sports, and I don't know if I'll have much time for it this year, but I'll try and get out as much as I can. Hopefully some of these tracks I can get out to some of their local golf courses and try them out. And that goes for anybody who's listening. If I'm at a track and we got quite a bit of downtime, invite me golfing. I'll be more than happy to go with you. Talk about racing all we want, too.
So that's it? Golf for you, for other hobbies?
I do a little bit of skiing as well. You got to do something in the winter that involves speed. So I took on skiing, downhill skiing, and I try to keep active as much as I can. So whether that's going for a jog or hitting the gym or playing basketball, a game of pickup basketball, that's something I always loved when I was back in high school. And now we don't really have any time for leagues, but I try to do it as much as I can.
Yeah, have you ever gone snowmobiling?
I've ridden a snowmobile a few times, but it's not really something I'm too excited about, mostly because of how much work snowmobiles can be. You go out and ride them and you have your fun, but they break about 50% of the time. So,
how about the jet skis?
I've done jet skis before. I have a lot of fun. I don't own one, but anytime I usually vacation in Florida. Anytime I go down there, I'll hit the beach and I'll usually rent a jet ski for an hour or two and go out there and have some fun.
So how many trophies have you won in drag racing so far? Or plaques, anything like that?
Yeah, that's a tough question. I probably have, I would say probably 30 or 40 race wins at the local track level, Lebanon Valley Dragway over my 16 years. That's including plaques and everything, best appearing car, best appearing crew. We've kind of had all that. So that's nothing to sniff at, that's for sure.
All right. Now, if you were able to do time traveling, Josh, and go back in time, would you do anything differently with the drag racing career?
With the drag racing career, there was 1 year I took off. I think it was back in 2011 or 2010. And I took it off for a spouse, and that's a lesson I learned pretty quick. And Yeah, that's one thing that I would do is I wouldn't take that year off. There's a lot of data I lost in that year. There was a lot of racing I missed and a lot of opportunity I could have missed. That's one year that I really wish I could have back.
All right, now this should be an easy question for you. What's your favorite food to eat?
I'm a big pizza guy. I love pizza, but here in Massachusetts, we all love our lobster and seafood, so it's a toss-up. But I think lobster would have to win. I love it.
So if you eat pizza, what do you like on your pizza?
I'm just a plain Jane, just cheese pizza kind of guy. I like the plain stuff. If not, then I go for a meat lovers.
What's your favorite beverage to drink?
It should be water, but it's not. I usually like soda. I'm a big Pepsi drinker, and Mountain Dew.
Yeah, it's hard to break from that stuff.
Yeah, it is.
Now, what's your favorite movie of all time?
That's a tough one.
Come on.
I'm a big movie buff, so usually it's something comedy or something actiony. I kind of like the Jack Reacher series and John Wick stuff. That's all pretty cool to me.
Oh, yeah, there's a new one coming out, right? John Wick?
Yeah, there's supposed to be.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that one.
All right, what's your favorite music?
I'm a hard rock kind of guy, and old school rock. So bands that nobody knows like Dokken and the Scorpions, and those are all my kind of music.
Nah, I love Dokken. I still got on my vinyl albums.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Dokken was a great band, probably one of the most underrated bands. They were really incredible, and I think Don Dokken is still touring.
Yeah, he is.
From that run. Yeah.
And George Lynch has got his own Lynch mob. So.
Yeah, that's right. But anything with heavy drums, I love the drums, and anything old school, I like it. But I don't really have an extreme preference on music. I'll pretty much listen to anything, except the radio. Anything on the radio nowadays, if you just listen to like the pop music, I can't get behind it. I'm not a big fan.
But mostly you like your go-to is mostly hard rock, right?
Yeah. I love the sound of real instruments, especially when you go to a live show. There's nothing like hearing the real instruments come together in a work of art.
Now you listen to metal too?
Every now and then I'll dip into that. Yeah. And again, that depends on my mood. If I'm in the kind of a kick-ass, angry mood, then I'll throw on some metal and listen to Trapped or something.
Put some Metallica on?
Yeah, a little Metallica, Trapped, whatever, and kind of getting that geared up mood too. And I'll probably listen to that when I'm racing as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say, racing and hard rock usually go pretty good.
Yeah, especially on this channel.
And it gets you in that mood to go fast.
That's right. I agree. And what's that one song? Is it by Motley Crue? The lyric is "Top Fuel, funny cars, a drug for me." That's Motley Crue.
Is that "Kickstart My Heart"?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So now, when you were a kid growing up, what was your favorite cartoon?
Cartoon growing up, I was probably a Rugrats fan, just because that was on all the time. That and the old school Tom and Jerry and.
Yeah.
Like the Tasmanian Devil was my favorite character, so
and the
anything with that.
Looney Tunes.
Yep, Looney Tunes. That was the Saturday morning cartoons. Used to watch that.
Now, what about TV shows? Did you have a favorite TV show when you were young?
I just used to watch what my parents used to watch, which sometimes it used to be Baywatch, and after Baywatch was Frasier, and Nash Bridges used to come on. Those are kind of old school shows now, but Law and Order.
Baywatch is good for you. Got to see all the Pamela Anderson, all the girls in bikinis.
Yeah, that's all good with me. But and then we watched Frasier right after, and I had no idea what they were talking about. But shows nowadays, like Law and Order SVU. That's a great timeless show, and Friends, and one of my favorite series is House. So yeah.
So what's been your most embarrassing moment at the track?
One thing that sticks out, I remember a few years back, Tony Bartone, I think we were at Maple Grove. He drove his Porsche, and I decided to pay, keep in mind I was like 6 or 7 years old. I decided to play a little joke on him, and I took his steel, the valve stem caps off his car, and he caught me, and he sent his crew after me. And while they were running, chasing me, I was looking behind me, and I just smashed into a garbage can. All over the garbage can, went flying, and they were just laughing so hard they decided to leave me alone.
Wow.
So that was probably my most embarrassing moment at the track.
Well, at least no one got it on video.
Yeah, no, I don't think there was much video happening then.
All right, so now, what's been the fondest memory of your drag racing career?
It's got to be that Division I championship in 2008. That was just such a big moment in my life. That was kind of finally I made it, I did it. I can finally put that Wally on the shelf and look at it for years to come. And there's a big story behind it, and that was my one big milestone and my one big shining moment. But I mean, I think it's a great moment to be signed by Hannah Motorsports Jets. That kind of says a lot. It really, truly is an amazing opportunity, and the future is really bright with this team.
Yep. Now, how important do you think it is for the kids to come out and watch drag racing in this day and age?
I think it's important. We need more people to watch this sport. It's kind of fading away a little bit. I think we need to bring some new ideas and get more people involved. And I really hope that I can kind of help that, because being an exhibition car, or some of the events that people see on flyers or Facebook, that they get interested in it. I know Sarah Edwards' story. That's how she got started. Her and her parents, went to an event in Englishtown, watched their jet car event there. And she saw the Queen of Diamonds for the first time. She got super interested in it and knew that's what she wanted to do. And she ended up being a Queen of Diamonds driver. But, it's truly an amazing story for her. And I hope that there's more kids that can look at stories like that, or stories like I have, and, kind of get behind it and get to the track and come see. So I'm going to try and bond with the younger fans as much as I possibly can, because they are our future. And if they stick around, then it's a lot better for us. So I'm definitely going to push, as many of my Facebook friends to share as much stories as we can, and do as many interviews as we can, and try and get the word out. Just what we're doing, because it really is an amazing sport. I go to basketball games all the time. I go to baseball games. For the Celtics and the Red Sox. That's truly amazing to go to those arenas and watch these people play these sports professionally. But that's all you get to do. You just get to watch them. With an NHRA pass, every ticket's a pit pass, so you get to go and meet with the drivers and talk to them and get their autographs without any trouble at all. You don't have security pushing you away or anything like that. NHRA does this thing at the end of national events, the mornings before they do the track walks, where you can go out on the track, see how sticky it is, and walk with drivers. They give all these opportunities to meet these people and these gladiators of the sport, and I think it's a really good opportunity, to have a hero and be able to meet them and talk with them and conversate. And we're all just normal people. We're not making $50 million a year. We don't have that chip on our shoulder that we're better than anybody. We're just normal people, and I think it's really great to be able to give back and get more people involved in the sport.
Awesome. Well, Josh, I want to thank you very much for taking time to do the interview tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dave. I really appreciate it.
I wish you the best